Hello everyone, this is ZeroGuardian, back with another episode of ZeroGuardian Plays his Steam Library. This is actually going to be a bonus episode. I'm actually going to be playing a game today that's not actually part of my Steam library, but it's a game that I've always wanted to show off and, introduce people to, because this game is just incredible. It's probably one of the best games ever made, like, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, there's going to be people who may disagree with me on that, but if you like, actually part of my Steam library, but it's a game that I've always wanted to show off and, introduce people to, because this game is just incredible. It's probably one of the best games ever made, like, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, sorry about that. Left the browser running the stream. Can't do that. Anyways, so back to what I was going for. The joys of technology and streaming. You always forget one little thing here and there. Anyways, so back to what I was talking about with Elite Dangerous. So this is one of I do think that this is one of the best games ever made. It's amazing. And so if you've ever played any kind of space simulator game, if you've ever done if you really enjoy those games that just kind of give you the freedom to do whatever you want, this huge open sandbox world, this is the game for you. In this game, you're basically just given a ship and a small handful of credits. You get 100 credits, I think, to start out with, and then you're just let out into the universe to do whatever you want to. You can be a pirate, you can be a bounty hunter, you can go mining, you can just be an explorer. You can explore the galaxy and then return back to the civilized systems with that information. The cool thing about it is the whole world universe within this game is rendered or is online and will also evolve over time. So as more and more players provide information to the civilized systems within the galaxy, the civilized systems will kind of slowly expand. And then we might run into something else later on. There's been hints from the developers, but they haven't given us all the details. So, there's a lot of surprises, I'm sure, to come. I think it's going to be really cool and exciting to watch this game evolve. As it stands right now, the game is only located within space, so you're always in your ship. So whether you're docking and at one of the stations or something, you're always still in your ship. So you're just kind of interacting with things via menus and stuff like that. But eventually, they're talking about the ability to actually go into and land on the planets in this galaxy and actually be able to explore the planets in a first person, get out of your ship. They're talking about being able to land on space stations and get out of your ship and explore the space stations and stuff like that. And I'm 100% behind them on this. I cannot express how excited I get when I start, thinking about all the possibilities in this game. So obviously do want to jump in and show you the game. I will say this is a very simulator-heavy game. You are absolutely, I can't understate this enough. You need a joystick setup. I've got the Cytec X52 Pro, which is a joystick and throttle assembly. This is probably the ideal configuration for this game because you really want to be able to control your direction and have a variety of buttons and hat switches to be able to really interact with this game at the optimum level. That being said, you could, if you wanted to, use an Xbox 360 controller. It would technically work, but you would have to heavily rely on a program, which I'll introduce you to a little bit later on. I don't want to go into the full details of that yet because I want to show it off a little bit before I start explaining what it is. But it is possible, but know that you're going to have to use some extra things in order to really be able to utilize this stuff. And going into that, I want to go ahead, just like I do with all of my previous videos, I want to show you the options that are in this game. This game has a huge amount of configuration capabilities built into it. It's incredible. So first you've got your graphics, which, it's the usual stuff, resolution, post-processing effects, all of that stuff. As you can see here, I'm running a GeForce GTX 980, which means that I'm able to run the game at pretty much maxed out settings without any issues. So, just keep that in mind. This is a fairly graphics intensive game. So if you don't have a very high-end computer, you're probably going to have to reduce down the resolutions. But my understanding is it does run very well on lower-end systems. Obviously you'll just have to crank the graphics details down. Where I'm really impressed with this game, and I know I've harped on this on a lot of other games, but I am immensely impressed with the audio section. So not only do you have separate audio sliders for the music volume, the sound effects in the game, and so forth, but you can also go through and choose like when music plays in the game. You can go through and there's player voice communication built in. So like if I was playing online, I could use voice communication within the game to communicate with other players. One cool aspect of that is again, because of the simulator aspects of this game, they actually simulate the communications, and so as you get farther and farther away from a player, the communications actually start to go static and kind of drown out, and so like you have to be close enough in order to really communicate with them. I think that's a really cool concept and everything. Granted, for some types of gameplay it would just cause a lot of issues. If you're just wanting to play with your friends and so forth, you probably want to use something like Mumble or TeamSpeak or Ventrilo, something along those lines. Then in the game, the ship will often respond to you when you're doing different tasks and so forth. And so it has given you the option to enable or disable every single one of those responses that it gives whenever you're doing something, or if there's like an error or something along those lines. And you'll see some of those responses in the game. You're also going to hear some responses from that other program that I was mentioning earlier. I don't want to get into it yet, but just know that you're going to be hearing some additional things, and that's coming not from the game itself. Then finally, the controls. Now, I'm just going to let you know, because of the simulator aspects of this game, because of the fact that you really need a throttle assembly, or a HOTAS assembly, which is a joystick and the throttle, the controls in this game can be rather complicated. It's probably going to take you 30 to 45 minutes to go through and get everything set up the way you like, and even then you're going to have to like play around with the game for a little while to get used to everything, because there's just so many controls that you're not going to be able to memorize them all right off the bat, and so you'll probably be like, oh, okay, I need to go back and take a look at this and so forth. Thankfully you can look at the controls in the game. It's not very difficult, but just know that it is going to take you a little while to get the hang of things in this game. It's not a game you can just jump into and just start playing. All right, it's a fairly complex game, both from the control aspect and from the game itself. And I'm going to go through and kind of show you, kind of how the game starts out, and give you some pointers, and hopefully this video will give you a pretty good guide to get you, kind of on your feet. So that's the controls. I mean, as you can see, it's just a huge number of controls here. Now, a lot of them you don't need. You don't need everything. So, don't feel like, hey, Jacob. Don't feel like you have to, don't feel like you have to use everything, but there is a degree of complication to the controls to keep you posted or to keep the controls working properly. So anyway, so just know that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in the game. Now I'm going to jump the game in as solo mode. Now there's three essential different groups here. There's open play, which would be the full online, so other players will actually end up in your instance. Which is really cool. You'll be able to interact with them, as I said, with the voice communication and stuff like that. And then there's solo play, which is still online. Like, this game, you have to be online in order to play it, but you can just join the game and you can play the game just by yourself, so no players will join your instance, and you'll be able to just kind of play the game and just interact with NPCs throughout the world. Now, even in solo, the universe doesn't feel empty. There's tons of NPCs all over the place. You'll see them when I start playing. So don't feel like if you're playing solo, it's going to feel real empty in the universe. They've done a really good job of making it feel, still alive and fully functional. So I'm going to jump into solo here. Now, because the game had a full reset when it was launched in December, and because I haven't had a chance to play the game a whole lot, I'm still in the starter ship. So this view that you're seeing here is what you would see if you first joined the game. You would see this HUD and everything. So this is the Sidewinder. It's the first basic ship in the game. It's a fairly good ship. It's actually, you can do quite a bit with it. So don't feel like, the starter ship is crap. You need to get out of it as soon as possible. It's actually a fairly capable ship, and you can actually use it for, quite a bit of the game. Especially if you just wanted to do like pirating or bounty hunting and stuff like that, this is actually a pretty capable ship. So don't feel like you immediately have to get out of this into a different one. You will probably need to upgrade the components of it and stuff like that. So just really quickly, before I get into the actual gameplay, just let me kind of show you what you're seeing on the screen right now. So in the bottom left there is the current area that you're in. So it shows I'm actually docked at Jones Point, which is in the San An system, which is an anarchy system. And so there are governments and stuff like that within this game, and there are wars going on between those governments, and so like you can actually help out like one faction versus another and stuff like that in order to to interact with the world. And as I was saying before, where the players' interactions will cause the system to evolve as more and more players like help out like one faction versus another or so forth. You'll actually see changes in the wars and so forth, and maybe even one government taking over another or something along those lines. In the center is additional information. Now, this is only seen, what you're seeing here is only seen when you're docked. So this is actually the interface for interacting with the station that you're in. I'll go over that here more in depth here in just a second. On the right, you have your ship. So that's my ship. The three rings around it are the shields. And then the 100% bar at the bottom is the hull. Then you see system engines, weapons, and then a RST for reset. That's the power distribution to your ship. So you can actually change that live while you're playing the game to give your engines more power so that you can go faster, turn faster. You can give your systems more power to make your shields last longer, or to help with the cooldown of systems on your ship. And then, of course, you can add more power to weapons, which allows them to do more damage, and then also allows them to cool down faster, which means that you're able to continue firing more often. And then on the side there, you see there's fuel, so it shows my current fuel consumption, and then the bar underneath it is the actual like fuel tank, and so that will decrease as we play around in the solar system, fly around, do stuff like that. And then the three icons underneath that, you'll notice two of them are blue, one of them's not. Those are indicators for status of current things. So like mass lock means that I'm currently next to an object in the universe that has significant mass, and it's preventing me from doing any kind of warp jump. The landing gear just means that the landing gear is deployed, and then the cargo scoop would be, if it was lit up, it would be deployed. Right now it's not, so the cargo scoop is just is closed currently. In the top left, you have your comms. So, like, if anybody communicates with you, an NPC or player, you can do text communication, stuff like that. It would appear up there. And then in the info section, it shows information in, like, the current. So, like, I just lost a contact. That means somebody went out of range of my radar on the system. I'll show you the radar here in a second because you can't see it until we're actually off of the space station, but that's the kind of information there. And then on the ship, you also have these two, you have a display on the right and a display on the left. The display on the right, and let me actually jump in so I can interact with it. So the display on the right shows you information about your character and your ship. So this right here shows my character. It shows my current combat rank, trade rank, and explorer rank. As I said, I've had to restart over, and I haven't gotten to play a whole lot into this lately, so I'm pretty low rank right now. It also shows your reputation with the various groups and factions that you've interacted with. It shows the modules of your ship, how much power they're currently using, the priority on the power, and stuff like that, and their current health value. Anyways, okay, there we go. Sorry. Then you have your fire groups, so you can change the weapons on your ship to fire in groups, and so you can actually cycle through your groups to change up firing, kind of like Mech Warrior or something along those lines. Then your cargo, and then finally the functions on your ship. So this allows you a manual way to go in and like turn on and off different systems. You can turn the ship lights on and off. You can switch to silent running, which essentially shuts down like pretty much all the systems on your ship. In order to not be detected on radar or stuff like that. So that's all there. And then on the left side, this is the information for the system itself and things outside. So like you have your navigation, so you can see all the various different systems and things that I can explore and visit in this solar system that I'm currently in. And then it also shows the nearby solar systems at the bottom of the list. And then you have transactions, so that would be like if you have any missions that you're currently on or something along those lines. And then lastly, you have your contacts. So in this case, the only contact would be Jones Point, which is the station I'm docked at. And then there's an NPC adder nearby that I could communicate with as well. And then if you had a ship locked on while you're flying around, the sub-targets and cargo menus would be open, and that would allow you to see different information about their ship and potentially interact with them a little more. Like you could target a specific system when you start shooting at them, and if you're in combat, stuff like that. So before we launch and get into the game itself, I just want to really quickly show you what it's like to interact with the starport. So you can see down here in the center, I can go through and choose different information here. So you can interact with the starport by going to the starport services. And then it gives you a big menu that gives you a lot of different information. So at the home, you can see the current status of your ship, what the hull and fuel tank and reservoir is currently set to. It allows you to refuel and repair your ship from the menu. Then you can go over to munitions. Like if you had weapons that used ammo, you could reload your ammo here. And then you've got the bulletin board. This is where the various missions are available in here, so I could go through here and look at, like, say, mercenary work available. So here's a mercenary. So we have a mercenary contract for the destruction of trader ships. So I'd have to destroy 4 trader ships for this mission. I'm not going to do that because that's more kind of pirate work, and I don't like playing as a pirate in this game. But that is an option available to you. There are missions for pirates and stuff like that. So if that's your thing, don't think you're going to jump in the game and the pirate thing is only going to be against like other players or just random NPCs. There's actually missions that you can do for that kind of stuff. Another one like this, I bet this is, so this is another kind of pirate-esque mission where like you're transporting slaves from one colony to another, and so that's, there's a lot of different options available to you there, and these a lot of these missions have very long time left. So you can see here this one has 159 hours, so that means you could accept this mission now and actually do it tomorrow if you wanted to. So don't feel like if you're going to be playing you have to complete a mission right away. A lot of them have these really long time limits that allow you to kind of accept them and then do them at a later time. Then you have your contacts. So this would be where you could pay off any bounties that are on you. You could collect any bounties or bonds for bounties that you've collected against pirates that you've killed and stuff like that. And then there's the outfitting menu. I'm not going to access it right now because the small space station I'm at doesn't really have anything that I can outfit to my ship, but that's where you would go to outfit your ship. I'll try to get to a larger space station here in a little bit, and I'll show you that. Then you have the commodities market. So if this place was, if you want to do some trading and so forth, you could log into here and you can see their current supply, their current demand, how much they're selling things for, how much they're buying things for, and then you can see the galactic average. And so this kind of gives you some information to kind of give you, to help you choose like what's a good buy, what's not. So like this, you could buy it at 106, and the galactic average you could sell at 147 potentially, and that's average, remember. So if you could find a really good system, it'll be above that. So you could potentially make some money on hydrogen fuel from this location. Obviously, you want to find a place that has a high supply, because high supply means that it's going to be selling things really low. But the trading system does get a little complicated. The other issue is trying to figure out where you need to take that cargo to, because a lot of times, systems that you jump to nearby may not need those, or you may have to jump like 4 or 5 systems away in order to find a place that you can actually sell it for a decent profit. So it's just something you have to keep in mind. There are some tools online. I'm not going to go over those, but there's some tools online that can kind of help you plan out trade routes. So, just search, Elite Dangerous trade routes and stuff like that, and you'll find plenty of information on that. And then lastly, you have the Universal Cartographic. So this is the exploration thing. So like you can see here, I've actually gathered this exploration data for these systems here. And so I would have to fly away to another system that's at least 20 plus light years away in order to sell them that information. In order to make these credit amounts that are here. So that does allow you to explore the galaxy in the game and see and make money doing that. So you don't have to be combat oriented, you don't have to be trade oriented, you don't have to do mining or anything. You could just be an explorer. And I'll have to say, this game has some really cool stuff for exploration, which I'll show you here in just a little bit. So I'm just going to quickly start I'm going to go ahead and launch here and show you what the game is like, and so you can kind of start to see some of this stuff for yourself. So one of the things to keep in mind in this game is it is simulator heavy. So when you're docking and undocking and so forth, there's a lot of manual steps involved. Now, one of the things that benefits that I've done in order to be able to make sure that things are easier to do is, and this is the application I was referring to earlier, is I've installed a program called Voice Attack. This allows me to use voice commands in order to interact with the ship and also to do various things in the game without having to have a bunch of button configurations or have to do multiple steps at the same time. So for instance, one of them would be prepare for launch. Prepare for launch. Is that working? I don't know what's going on here. Why is it not working? Prepare for launch. Why is it? Oh, wait, no. I know what I need to improve some of my commands here. I'm misspeaking it, actually, so it's my fault. Prepare to launch. Prepare to launch.
Ready for launch.
There we go. That's not a very good example of that. That's the game. The system works much better once you know the voice commands. It's been a little while since I played the game, so don't think that it's not working properly. I think another thing that's interfering with it is the fact that I'm recording on the same mic for the stream itself. So it works actually really, really well. And I'll try a few more commands here to kind of show you off some of the things that it can do. One thing I really like about Voice Attack is I can go through and have some interaction with the ship and make it feel more real, kind of immerse myself in the game. So for instance, I could do, hello computer.
Hello Commander, how are you doing today?
So you can see the ship is able to interact with me now. And so, it helps you to kind of get into the game. So, for instance, I could ask the ship, what should we do today?
Technically, I'll do whatever you tell me to.
Well, at least you know your place. I was supposed to do something there, but oh well. But anyway, so the voice attack allows you to do a lot of commands. So, for instance, if I wanted to get away from this space station and fly around the solar system, I could do that. So in this game, I guess I should cover that too. So in this game, there's 3 types of travels. There's normal travel, which I'm in right now, which is I'm in a location that has either a space station or like a nav beacon or maybe an unidentified signal source or something along those lines. And so I'm just flying around normally, and you can see my speed in the center bottom there. Right to the right there where it says 167. So that's the speed of my ship, and I can increase that or decrease it depending on where my throttle is, of course. Now, one thing that a lot of new players don't seem to understand, and even I had difficulty with it at first, is what's that little blue bar there that's kind of in the center of the throttle? Well, that is the optimum location for maneuverability of your ship. And so I can turn much faster as long as my throttle is in that blue range there. So if you'll see, like, I'm pitching up here, I'm doing it pretty quickly, but if I increase my speed, now my pitch slows down considerably, and I'm not able to maneuver as quickly. And so, that's something to keep in mind. So when you're like in combat with ships, you want to try to stay as much within that blue range as possible. Otherwise, the other ship's going to outmaneuver you. So that's normal flight. So the next one is there's what's called hypercruise, and I'm going to show you hypercruise in just a second. But hypercruise allows you to travel in the solar system itself at faster than light speed. So, for instance, I'm going to go ahead and jump into it so I can kind of show you what it's doing. So, jump.
Ludicrous speed engaged.
And so you can see I added, that additional, just having some fun with it. And so you have to throttle up whenever you go into hypercruise.
2, 1, engage.
So there's a brief transition, and now I'm in hypercruise. So hypercruise now allows me to travel at faster than light speed between various locations within this solar system. And so, like, right now, like, there's a resource extraction site over here that I could go to. I could actually lock onto it and get some additional information there on the left. But you can see it's also 47 light seconds away from me, which obviously if I was traveling really slowly would take forever to get to. But now that I'm able to go into hypercruise and increase my speed faster than light, I can start getting close to it much quicker. And so you can actually see my speed in that same location. You see it says something C, so in this case 0.7 C. That's how much of the speed of light. So, right now I'm actually traveling slower than the speed of light. But, there are, you may actually, I've seen it as high as 200 or 300 C. So I'm traveling 200 or 300 times the speed of light. So right now I'm approaching a planet. Now this also kind of gives you some information about how the system works. So as you get closer to large sources of mass, the game is going to automatically slow you down because it interferes with your hypercruise engines. And so you'll notice, like, I'm not changing the throttle, but the time to get there is increasing. That's because it's automatically slowing me down. And so I can throttle up to increase, to decrease the speed, or increase the speed and decrease the time it's going to take you. While I'm here, I'm going to show you one of my favorite things in the game. So this is obviously a giant with a ring system similar to Saturn. So I'm going to fly close to the rings here, and it's going to take a little bit of maneuvering to do. Just bear with me for a second here. So here in just a second, you're going to start seeing this kind of cloudy section. You'll start seeing like dots pop out of it. Yeah, you can just barely start to see it right now. You can get a little closer and you'll be able to see it better. Alright, so yeah, ooh, don't go that fast. Alright, so you can see these asteroids and stuff in the ring. Oh, I got too close, so it's dropping me out of hypercruise. So, but I can actually fly into the ring where all these asteroids are. This is all rendered in-game. And I think this is freaking just amazing. Like, I mean, if you've ever wanted to do that whole, Star Wars, fly through the asteroid field, Han Solo and C-3PO and everybody. Yeah, this game allows you to do that. And the interesting thing is, you'll notice on my radar here, and I guess I should probably explain how that works. So the radar is essentially a sphere, but it's only showing the 2D plane of your ship. So the lines indicate how far above or below you the ship is, or the target is. So in this case, uh-oh, I think I have, just a second, I may have somebody who's trying to attack me. Oh, no, I think he's attacking somebody else. Yes, there's a Sidewinder here.
Scan detected.
And he's clean. Okay. Whoa!
Under attack.
Alright, sorry, just a second, guys. I'm gonna have to... So you can see here, I'm throttling down to that blue section there. Whoa! Oh gosh, he must be firing rockets. Oh, this is a good...
Canopy integrity.
Oh, this is good. Alright, I'm gonna boost away here. Just a second. I gotta get away from this guy. Oh, I wasn't expecting this. Wasn't prepared. Alright, so you might have been able to see there I was changing the power distribution on my ship. So I've got more power to systems and engines, which allows my shields to charge up more quickly. And then my engines to charge up more quickly so I can do these boost maneuvers more often. And right now I'm going to go ahead and jump.
Ludicrous speed engaged.
Right, so it's charging, but because there's ships nearby, it's going to take longer to charge. And so I'm going to try to escape from this, and hopefully it will... Alright, so here we go. So now I'm jumping out. I'm going to be able to go to a space station and get repaired up and so forth. But anyway, so you could fly into the rings and interact with all that, and it's, this game is amazing. It's got so many cool things going on. Come on, there it goes, finally.
2, 1, engage.
Yeah, so as you can see, I'm in a solo mission, and that was an NPC pirate that just wanted to fuck my shit up. So, there's tons of stuff to do in this game. Let's see here. What's a system nearby? Just one second. That one. Alright, so we're going to fly into Phillips Arena over here and land. Now, I will say I am in an Anarchy system right now because I was in the process of traveling to some other location, and Anarchy systems are going to have a lot more pirate activity, so if you stay to the civilian area, or to the civilized station systems, or like the federal systems and so forth, then you would be able to you wouldn't have the pirate attacks happen as often because there's more police there and so forth. So that's something to keep in mind here. Normally, jumping into a planet like that, you're not going to be attacked like crazy. But in this case, I just happened to have that happen. So the game can be a little brutal. I guess I should also explain. So, for instance, if you do get attacked by a ship, then and they best you and you die, what happens? Well, if you're just starting out like me, or similar to me, now I've spent a little bit of money on my Sidewinder, so I wouldn't want this to happen, but if you just had the base ship, you hadn't done any upgrades or anything to it, there's actually no loss. Like, you'll get the free ship back and be able to interact with that. And be able to continue playing. But, for instance, let's say you... Okay, yeah. So, for instance, let's say you had spent some money on a brand new ship or so forth. Well, at that point, you have to have what's called salvage, or you have to... the game has salvage insurance, essentially, built into it. And so you're able to recover your ship for a cost. So this is one thing that, I definitely stress to anybody who's going to play this game starting out brand new. Don't buy a ship if it's all you can afford. Like, if your ship, the new ship you're buying, uses all of your money, don't do it. All right. You want to save up some more money before you buy the ship, because if you run into a situation where, some pirates attack you and they just out of your league, then you're going to need to be able to pay for that salvage.
Docking request granted.
You're going to need to pay for that salvage of your ship, and so that's just something to keep in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and dock into this, and this will actually give me a chance to show you how the docking works in the game. First thing you need to do is locate your docking bay. So you'll see it right away when you see the orange. You'll see this orange glow kind of appearing above the dock, and I'm sure we'll see it here in just a second. Here, let me fly over here. Slow down. All right, yeah. So there it is, right there. So that's my docking bay. You can see in the center at the bottom, proceed to landing pad 1. So landing pad 1 is the one that's right in front of me. Now, whenever you're docking, you do have a specific time limit that you have to do it in, but it's 10 minutes. It's not difficult to do with any of the ships, even with the really big ships. It's not difficult to do once you get the hang of it. But there is a lot of things you need to understand. So the very first thing, and I'm going to show you this without docking really quick, but you're going to see over here on the landing pad that there's essentially two sides of it, all right? And you'll see on the right there's some like office, like kind of a, almost like a flight control deck. And then on the left, you're going to see this ramp. The ramp should always is essentially like the back of the docking bay. So you want to fly into from the ramp facing the flight deck, okay? So in other words, I need to fly in from this side here and in order to dock. Now the other thing you need to remember is that whenever you're docking, you have to have your landing gear deployed. So I'm going to go ahead and deploy that with the voice attack command that I have. So just one second. Prepare for docking. Oops, I think it's just prepare for dock. Just one second. Prepare to dock.
Ready for docking.
So you can add multiple different commands into the voice attack. I just haven't gotten around to doing that. That way, like if you say it multiple different ways, it actually still does the command. So that's something to keep in mind. I'll kind of show you voice attack here in a little bit because it's a really cool program. You can use it for way more than just this game. And voice attack's only $8. So like there's no reason not to get it. It's super cheap. It's really cool. It's really effective. It's just something to keep in mind. So now that my landing gear is deployed, I can go ahead and land. So I'm going to fly in slowly, and then you're going to see in the bottom center there, as I get really close to the docking bay, the radar is replaced with kind of a docking guide. And you'll see that probably right about now. Yeah, so there it is. So now you kind of see a 3D representation of your ship. You can see it kind of pitch up and down with me. And so if you want to kind of make that, kind of flat, and then what you want to do is that little red dot, you want to get that right in the center. And you might have to like shift, kind of shift to the side. Whenever it turns blue, that means you're technically capable of docking. And then you just want to thrust downwards very lightly until it grabs you. And then you're docked. All right? If you follow those guidelines, you'll be able to dock every single time, and it's not difficult. It's very, very easy. Take it slowly. There's no reason to rush. I mean, you've got 10 minutes. There's just no reason to rush. Now, obviously, as you get really good with the game, I've gotten to the point where I can dock, within, 30, 45 seconds. So it's, it's not difficult to do once you start getting the hang of it. But, when you first get started out, just take it slowly. There's no reason to rush. A lot of people get screwed up on this and end up hurting, themselves or crashing into the station and blowing their ship up or something on those lines. So, just, take it slowly. There's no reason to rush. It's easy to do as long as you just kind of follow those guidelines that I laid out. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into Starport Services. And then I'm going to repair my ship from the damage they did and refuel. Alright, I'm going to really quickly look at the bounty board here and see if there's any missions here that I can take. Let's see here. So, yeah, so we'll go ahead and do this. So they're asking me to transport a batch of clothing to... transportation test batch clothing units to the agents at Thompson Vision. Yeah, so they want me to deliver this to Thompson Vision Starport in system GAT2, and it's 3 cargo quantities, so 3 tons essentially of clothing. And so I'm going to go ahead and accept this because it's a simple mission. That way you can kind of see how this works, and I can show you what it's like to interact with the galaxy map and what it takes to jump from one system to another. So I'm going to go ahead and hit accept. And then I'm going to exit out of that. And then really quickly I want to show you, now you'll see on the transactions list here that I have that mission available here. And you see I have 1 hour and 10 minutes to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and launch. Now what this is going to do is it's just going to flip me around, because whenever you launch with that ramp facing you. So just keep that in mind. So it's going to flip you around anytime you launch out of something. So I'm going to prepare to launch.
Ready for launch.
And so you see that time it worked perfectly. It turned off my landing gear, turned off my lights, and so now I can just fly out of here and get going. Now, normally you would just want to thrust up from there. You wouldn't actually want to angle it and take off. I'm in a smaller ship, so it's not a big deal, but in the larger ships, you would immediately crash into the space station. So don't repeat that with the larger ships. You want to thrust upwards with your thrust controls rather than doing that way. So I'm going to reset my controls so everything's kind of balanced. Alright, so now I want to show you the galaxy map. So I'm going to open this up really quick, and I'm just going to tell you right now, this is one of the reasons why I think this is one of the greatest games ever made. So here's the galaxy map. Alright, so you see you've got Sinon here. This is the system that we're in. We're needing to go to GAT2, so let me just zoom out a little bit here. And so GAT2's here. So my mission's here. That's where I want to go. So I can click select or plot route, and that will allow me to automatically jump to that location. You'll see it here in just a second. But before we do that, I want to show you why I think this is one of the most amazing games ever made. So I'm going to just slowly zoom out so you can see the systems in here. Oh, dang it. That's not what I want to do. I just wanted to clear that out. Alright, so I'm going to slowly zoom out. Alright, so you can see lots and lots of systems. Lots and lots of systems. Okay, now we're just into a whole bunch of stars everywhere. Just keep zooming out, keep zooming out, keep zooming out. And yeah. That's the Milky Way galaxy. And the entire galaxy is available for you to navigate and fly to and do all kinds of stuff in. There's 400 billion solar systems in this galaxy that they've created for this game. And so, like, I can zoom in here, and, like, you can already see it. Like, Sol is right there. That's us. That's Earth. So if I can find Sol. Let me... just a second. So it's over there. I don't know why the... just one second, I can do a search for it. Yeah, so I can just do Sol. And so there it is. There's our solar system. There's the sun, there's the Earth, there's Mars, there's Jupiter, Saturn, it's all here. It's amazing. You got Pluto and even Charon, its moon. So I mean it's amazing. You've got the asteroid belt. So I mean anything in the Milky Way galaxy is available to you in this game. It's incredible to me. And so, you can fly wherever you want to. Now, obviously, you'll have to have a ship that's capable. With the fuel, you'll have to refuel as you go. Now there are ways to fuel even if you're out exploring in uncivilized sectors. There's a fuel scoop that you can purchase, and then you'll skim the outside atmosphere of stars to collect, the hydrogen atoms that are just kind of floating around the star. And So you'll be able to fuel up your system that way, or your ship that way, and that allows you to just keep on cruising out to the far reaches of the galaxy. There's people that are they just got their ship and have just started going, and it's going to be really interesting to see some of the things they've got in here. You'll probably notice, I don't know if I see any nearby. There's one. So there's nebula in the game, and the nebula you can actually go fly into and see the nebula up close. There's black holes. So there's pretty much everything. Anything that's in the Milky Way galaxy that we absolutely know about is already here, and then the stuff that we don't know about has been procedurally generated. And so it's amazing. There's so much that you can do in this game. I can't even remotely, describe like how much of it is. So now that I've selected GAT2 as my destination, if you look over in the bottom right at the fuel bar, you'll notice that there's a section of it that's blue right now. That is how much fuel I'll use jumping from here to GAT2. All right, and so and that's another thing I should probably explain. So on the radar, I was kind of explaining that when I got attacked earlier. So the way the radar works, like I said, is it's a sphere, but you see the horizontal plane out from my ship. And so as you rotate around, you'll see these lines appear on the different ships and targets that are out there. And so you can see, as I rotate around, you'll see it's directly below me, that target that I have selected, which is the civilian outpost. And then if I bring it to the front, you'll see it out in front of me. And then you'll notice there's another ship. Well, it looks like it just disappeared. But there's also this white target out here. So if I do that, you'll see this target's right in front of me. I can target it now, and that's a high-energy FSD wake, and that's a frame shift drive. And that is the wake that somebody has left when they did a jump either to hypercruise or hyperspace jump to another system. But the other thing you need to be aware of is you have the radar, but then you also have, just barely to the top right of it, you have that little... it's almost like a little radar. Well, what that shows you is where your current destination is in relation to you. So in this case, it's to my left, and you can now kind of see it over there, see GAT2. And so if I bring that around to the front of my view, and I center my view here, then you'll see now it's directly in front of me, and it's in the center of the reticules. However, you could also have it directly in the center of the reticules if it was behind you. But you'll notice as I rotate around, it suddenly went from solid to just a small circle. And so now it's technically directly behind me. And so when it shows a circle in that little radar there, that means whatever your target is behind you. And so you need to rotate around in order to get it in front of you, and then just bring it to once it's solid like that, just bring it to the center of the reticule, and it's right in front of you. So that same thing applies to docking. So if you're having trouble locating the docking bay will show up on that little reticle there, and that will help you locate where it is. So I'm going to go ahead and throttle up here and show you what it's like to hyperspace jump from one system to another. So, alright, so now that I'm throttled up, I'm not mass locked, so I can definitely do the jump. So I'm going to go ahead and initiate the jump. This time I'm just going to do it with the key that I have set up for that. So, here it goes. So, it'll charge up the drive, and then you're off on your way.
Four, three, two, one, engage.
And so the hyperspace sends you through this almost kind of like wormhole-esque kind of view. I think it's really cool. It's really neat. It's going to be about the same every time. But the really scary part comes right there. So it sends you like immediately at the star when you come into a system. And so just keep that in mind. You can't just jump to a system and then go get something to eat or drink or something, because otherwise your ship will just dive right into the star, burn up, and now you've got to pay the insurance to salvage your ship. Now, there are some ways around that. Like, there is an ability to, like, if you set it up just right, if you throttle down when that countdown, the 4, 3, 2, 1, when that countdown, if you throttle down to 0, then when you pop out the other side, your ship will be going just 30 kilometers per second, and so it would take an immensely long time for you to run into the star. So that is one way. Like, if you had to step away and you just wanted to jump to another system, you can technically do that, but just keep in mind, if you don't do that, then you're going to be stuck, and you need to make sure. So the first thing I need to do is find out where this station is that I need to get to. So it was Thompson Vision. There it is. All right, so I'm going to lock my destination there. And you can see now that this location is 18,000 or a little less than 19,000 light seconds away, which means it's a fairly long distance away, so I've got to point myself towards it and then just fly there. Now, you'll probably notice that the time is decreasing immensely. Well, that's because my speed is increasing. You'll see I'm at 32 or 33 times the light speed of light. And, you know, that'll keep increasing until I get about halfway, and then it'll start decreasing again because now I'm getting closer and closer to a mass object rather than farther away from the one that I left. So this will probably get up to probably about 100 times the speed of light. Now, one thing you'll notice when you're flying across like this is you may, and I'm sure we'll see one here in just a little bit, but you might see a target pop up. And that is what's called a USS, or an unidentified signal source. Now, they'll always pop up sort of in front of you, maybe off to the side just a little bit, but with enough distance that you could actually slow down in order to enter them. And what unidentified signal sources are just kind of random events that pop up in the solar system. So it could be, you know, a pirate that's attacking a trader, and you could hop in and maybe defend the trader, or maybe it's just a trader itself, and you could hop in if you're a pirate and potentially, you know, take their cargo. I've seen just random events where it's like a funeral procession or something along those lines, you know, and so, you know, there's these, you know, it's a wide variety of different things that they've put into the game to really, you know, kind of flesh out the game, allow for a lot more interaction, a lot more stuff in the world in order to not make it feel so empty. I will say, in this game, you are going to be doing a lot of traveling like this. The game is created in a 1-to-1 scale, which means that the actual size of the solar system is the actual size it would be in real life. So the stars are freaking massive, the planets are the right size, and so, you know, and the distances between them are what they would be. So, you know, for instance, in our solar system, if you were in our solar system in the game and we're traveling at exactly the speed of light, then it would take you 8 minutes to get from the sun to Earth. All right, and so that just kind of gives you an idea of the scale that this game has in it. I think it's freaking incredible. And I love it. There's a USS right there. So, like, I could travel into that and see what it is. I don't want to. I want to get to this station so I can go ahead and turn in this mission and get the credits from it. But one thing, because this game is trying to render everything realistically, one thing I should point out is the background. So in most games, the background is just this static picture that doesn't, you know, it only changes like when it needs to, and so forth. In this game, the background is rendered based on what you would actually see from that solar system. So, you know, looking around here, every single one of those stars are actually nearby stars. And you'll actually notice that when you go into the galaxy map and select one, you'll notice, especially if it's a close star, when it shows up on the background there and you start heading towards it, you're going to see it's highlighting one of those stars. And so it's, you know, I think this is really, really cool. Now, one other thing I wanted to explain, and I was kind of hoping it would happen, maybe it'll happen as you get closer here. It often tends to happen when you're close to a docking or to a station that you're traveling to. you know, I might get. You can also be interdicted, which means that another player or NPC is trying to pull you out of the hypercruise, so that they can either like scan you, or if they're a pirate, they could, you know, want to take your cargo and stuff like that. And so that is the possibility. Hopefully, one will pop up here so I can show you what you have to do. But it may not. One thing I do need to point out is, as you're approaching a system, and I haven't been explaining this, I've just been doing it because I know to do it in the game, but you wouldn't know if you're brand new to the game. As I approach the system, I've actually throttled down to the point where my ship automatically, you know, slows down at the right rate. But the way you can tell that it's slowing down at the right rate is if the time to the distance, or to the object that you're trying to get to, is 8 seconds. That's what you want to shoot for, is 8 seconds. You can get away with 7, but you have the potential for being, when you get too close to the object, of being thrown out of hypercruise. And when you get thrown out of hypercruise, you have the potential of damaging your ship. And so, you know, if you shoot for 8 seconds, you'll never run into that issue. And so just adjust your throttle in such a way that you always stay at 8 seconds. Once you have that, you know, you can pretty much not touch the throttle again. It shouldn't adjust too much. Like here, you'll see it's kind of increasing to 7. And then once you get within 1,000 kilometers, you can disengage hypercruise and jump into the system where the station is. Now, this is a great example. I'm really glad that this was a full-blown station. So now I can show you how to dock at a station, because stations are a little different. So I'm going to go ahead and request docking. Now, you can request docking as soon as you are within less than 7 kilometers away. And you can see on the screen here on the right, I'm 6.5, 6, you know, because I'm getting closer and closer. So I'm going to go ahead and request docking.
Request granted.
And so it granted my request, and it says proceed to landing pad 36. Well, on these or on the big space stations like this, all the docking pads are actually inside the space station. And so you have to fly over to the entrance, and the way you can tell it's the entrance, and let me turn away and then I'll kind of zoom in. Actually, let me make sure I'm heading in the right direction. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, alright, let me pull this way. Alright, so you'll see the entrance there in the center of the space station. See that little slot, that kind of blue slot there? That's the entrance inside the station. And the way you can always tell that it's the station is you'll see the 4 lights. That's the entrance side. On the opposite side are 4 red lights. Red lights mean that it's not an entrance, and so you're not going to be able to enter there. So let me reset my sight and start lining up. Alright, so I'm going to... Now, here's the thing. You'll notice the station is rotating. Well, I'm not, which means that I'm going to, as I try to dock with the station, I'm going to have to compensate for that rotation in order to make sure that I come in without crashing into it. So, my joystick I actually have slightly pulled to the left in order to make sure that I'm matching the rotation. Now, as you get really close to the station, your ship will actually match the rotation of the station, and so you no longer have to worry about that. But you have to do it as you get really close. So, like, now I don't have to worry about compensating because I'm in the space station and my ship is auto correcting for that rotation. I don't have to worry about it. So, the next thing I need to do is deploy my landing gear. So, not that one, that one. Alright, so I've got my landing gear deployed. And so, just like I was explaining before, you fly towards the flight deck. So the flight deck's there towards the back, and the ramp is right there in front of me. So I'm going to kind of angle down towards the ramp, and then as I get close, I'm going to kind of swoop in on top of it. And you'll see, and there's the landing pad guide. And so I'll get close, and then kind of even out my ship. And then, alright, so now I'm dead in the center, so I can just slowly go down, and I'm docked.
Engines disengaged.
So now I can go into Starport Services, and then go to the bounty board, or bulletin board, excuse me. And now I can turn in that mission, and I got 2,000 credits. And that was it. I just transported cargo from one to the other. I got a little bit of a boost in my reputation with them. Not much, but a little bit. And so, that's a really good way to just kind of start off in the game. Like when you first start off, like I said, you only have like 100 credits. It might be 1,000. I think it's only 100 though. And so with 100 credits, you can't do much. Like you can't do a lot of trading. You're not going to be able to buy stuff for your ship and stuff like that. And so when you first start out, you basically have two options. You can either go do bounties, and that would be you fly to like a nav beacon or one of the resource extraction sites, and there's usually pirates there, and you can scan their ship. It'll tell you whether they're clean or wanted. And I may go do that really quick just so I can show you what that's like. And then you can attack them. If you kill them, you collect the bounty, and then you're able to come back to a station and collect on that bounty. Now, one thing that would really help you out with the bounties eventually is, and let me go ahead and go to the outfitting, like I was saying, I was going to show you that when I got to one of the big stations. So the nice thing about the outfitting, you can attach a scanner, which is called a kill warrant scanner. And the nice thing about that is, so for instance, if you just took your standard Sidewinder ship out to go collect some bounties, and you killed a couple of pirates, you would only collect the bounties for the system you killed them in. You wouldn't be able to collect bounties for other systems. And so with the kill warrant scanner, you can scan them and automatically be notified about other bounties that were on them, and then go collect those as well. And so it's a really good idea. And so you can see here, I actually have a kill warrant scanner, which allows me to scan a ship and collect the bounties from multiple systems rather than just the one I killed them in. Now, when you first start out in the ship, most of your stuff is going to be loaned. You'll see everything will just say loaned next to it, which means that it's just a loaner item. Now, that being said, just because it's a loaner item does not mean they're crap. They're actually start you off with a fairly decent ship, okay? I'm not going to say it's the best in the world, but it's capable enough that you don't need to just feel like you need to go get a different ship. You could go out, gain some money, and then you could start replacing some of the things. Like I've upgraded my thrusters, my frame shift drive, my power plant, my sensors. So anything that basically doesn't say loaned, I've upgraded. And that allows you to, kind of increase the capabilities of the ship in order to do different things. And then lastly, you can also do liveries, which allow you to apply different paint jobs or decals. And so that gives you the option to do those various different things. Then lastly, one thing you want to be aware of, and this was something that I kind of learned just by accident, but I imagine other people have had issues with it. You notice the plus sign there? The plus sign means that they have other things available that you can purchase. Now, in this case, everything has something available to purchase, but you may run into a station that doesn't have, like, thrusters for your ship, for instance. And so if it didn't, that plus sign wouldn't be there, and you wouldn't have others to choose from. So you go buy and equip, and then it shows you what's available. So that's the loadout. So like you can change your weapons. You could get various different weapons. I guess some advice on the weapons. So anytime you're buying weapons, it's better to have the gimbaled. You'll see here weapon mode gimbaled. That means that the weapon has the ability to kind of auto-correct for movement, both for you and your target. And so within a small range, it auto-corrects and will auto-target what you're firing at. So that helps you quite a bit. You'll typically end up doing a lot more damage with those just because you're able to hit the target more often than, say, you would with a non-gimbaled version. Now, non-gimbaled typically do more damage. So, if you're a really good pilot and you're able to hit them without the gimbal, then, the non-gimbaled versions may be the way to go. The other thing you want to know is any kind of thermal-based weapon, so lasers and stuff like that, or beams, and so forth, those are really good against shields, but they're not very good against hull. For hull, you want to get something like a multi-cannon, or just a straight cannon, or missiles, or something along those lines, because those will do more damage to the hull. And so having like a combination of those on your ship allows you to do more damage and take out the ships much more easily. Now, I have not had a chance to really do a whole lot to upgrade my ship to make it good for combat. Unfortunately, I just have the standard pulse lasers that come with it. So I'm going to try to do a little combat here just so I can kind of show you what it's like. I wish I had a better ship to really show that functionality to you. But at least right now you get an idea of what it's like to do some combat and like how you can get involved in that. So I'm going to launch here really quick, and then I'm going to go to the nav beacon of the closest star, and we'll see if we can't find a couple of guys that are wanted that aren't too crazy, so that I can show you what the combat's like. So, as I was saying previously, normally you want to thrust straight up, like that, rather than like turning your ship and angle it and so forth. And that allows you to get away from the docking pad without the risk of like running into it or so forth, like if you turned your ship or something along those lines. So let me go ahead and get ready to launch. So prepare to launch.
Ready for launch.
So now my lights are off, my landing gear's retracted, and I can go ahead and fly out of here. You can fly around with your landing gear enabled, however, your speed will be drastically reduced, and you're not going to be able to jump to hypercruise or hyperspace. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're leaving. You need to make sure to retract your landing gear and deploy it right before landing, because otherwise you're going to run into issues. So don't forget those things. They're very important. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into hypercruise and come over here, and I have to wait until this is done.
1, engage.
Okay, so now that I'm in hypercruise, I'm going to come over here and let's see, are the nav beacons showing up? No, I have to get closer to the star. Alright, so we're closer to GAT 2B, so I'm going to fly over to GAT 2B and hope that this one has a nav beacon. I don't know if this one does or not. Maybe I'll get interdicted here and I can show you what that's like. Okay, and you see there I kind of slowed down in order to compensate for the speed, because obviously A, you don't want to run into the star, and then B, if you overshoot it too heavily, then you could run into issues. Let me see here. Identified signal source. Yeah, so it doesn't look like there's a nav beacon here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to GAT 2A, and that will allow me to get to the nav beacon there, which I know there's one there because I saw it earlier when I was trying to find the station that I needed to get to. So this will take about 5 minutes to get over there. In the meantime, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should explain to you. Because there's, like I said, it is a fairly involved game. There's a lot going on, but it's immensely fun. There's so many things to do. There's a ton of different ships you can buy. There's obviously a huge universe to explore and do various things in. And like I said, you can do bounty hunting, pirating, or whatever you want. I will say right now, mining is a little difficult to do because there's no automated collection process for the mines. So like when you mine an asteroid, chunks of whatever material you're mining off of it kind of float off, and you have to go and collect those with your cargo scoop, which means that it's not a very efficient form of making money, and if you don't collect them quickly enough, the game makes them disappear, which is kind of an issue. as you can imagine. And so, you know, that may not be the best way to go. It can be a little boring. Most people have made a lot of complaints about how the mining works, so that's just something to keep in mind. Right now, probably the best ways to start the game, if you're just, you know, trying to get some starter money, is bounties and the missions. And what you want to do is get to probably about, you know, 200,000 or 300,000 credits, and then you could buy something like a Viper, or maybe save a little bit more and go up to a Cobra. Those two ships are probably the best next step from the Sidewinder. The Viper is going to be better for combat. The Cobra is kind of a better all-rounder. There's also another small ship like the Sidewinder that's much better at combat, and that's the Eagle. And so that's something that you could look at. But then from there, there's much larger ships, which typically tend to be much more specialized. You know, you have like the Asp, which is, that one's actually a pretty good all-rounder, but it's more for like trading or exploration. But then you have ships like the oh gosh, I've gone brain dead. Like, well, I mean, like the biggest ship in the game is the Anaconda, and that one's like this giant, like military type cruiser thing. This is, you know, just it's really, really good at combat. The only downside is it's not very maneuverable, so smaller ships can actually be a danger. So it's just, you know, something to keep in mind here. Oh, yeah, so here, okay, so I'm being interdicted. So the first thing I'm going to do is slow down to the blue area. Oh my gosh. Wow, this must be a really big ship. Oh. Okay, alright. Well, I have to admit, I should not have been able to interdict that. I don't know what happened there. That was interesting. Normally, what you have to do in order to interdict is you notice at the very beginning there, and unfortunately I couldn't show it for very long, but it started this like blue kind of circle, and then that started kind of floating off to the side. You want to target that, because that is the angle at which you can escape the interdiction that's happening. And so normally you would have to rotate your ship in order to compensate for that. I'm not sure why I was able to do that without. It looked like I was actually going to lose the interdiction, which is why I made the comment, it must be a really big ship, because the size of the ship that's interdicting you actually will affect how well you're able to evade the interdiction. And so, like, if I'm a Sidewinder and a Anaconda, the largest ship in the game, interdicts me, the chances of me being able to evade that are actually pretty slim. But I will say, with the maneuverability that I have with the Sidewinder, I might be able to. It's a possibility. But so there's a lot of different things. It's kind of some kind of mini game things that they've added into it, like the interdictions and stuff like that. Let's see, what else? And there's a lot more information that I could go over, like, you know, the types of stars and stuff like that, but I don't want to bore you, because that's much more technical details and would really only benefit you if you were doing certain types of gameplay. And there's guides online that cover all of that stuff. So, you know, this is a game that, you know, if you want to do a particular style of gameplay, I highly recommend you go and, you know, do some research a little bit, you know, find out what would be the best, like, ship and kit for what you want to do, and stuff like that, in order to make sure that, you know, make sure that you know what you need to do getting into the game. Alright, so here we are getting closer to get to A. Slow down. Alright, there's the nav beacon. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so now the question is the nav beacon on the far side? Yes, it is. Okay. So, anytime an object that you're trying to get to is orbiting something like a star or a planet, if it's on the far side of the object, you actually kind of want to make this big shoot around. And the reason is because if you did it the other way around, if you just went at like a straight path, you would end up falling into the gravity well of the planet or star more quickly, which means you slow down much more quickly, and it takes longer to get to where you're going. So, you know, anytime it's on the opposite side, you always want to kind of do this kind of slingshot around the gravity well, and then come in almost like head on to like it, but you know, the mass object, the destination, and then your ship. Now, I didn't do that here, but that would be the most optimal way. Alright, so I'm going to get into the nav beacon here. Alright, so, and as I said, you know, as we get down to about 1,000 million meters, then I can jump out of hypercruise, and we'll start seeing a bunch of ships and so forth in here. And hopefully I can show you some combat. It'll depend on what targets I find here, because if most of them are much higher, better equipped than I am, then I'm not going to stand a chance, but we'll see. Alright, so you can already see that there's a lot of stuff showing up on my radar, so I'm going to just kind of look around here and see what I can find. Alright, so here's an Asp that's clean. Let's see, we got several ships over here. Novice, and you'll see on the bottom left there, it shows clean. Clean means that they don't have any bounties, so there's no point in me attacking them. Alright, this guy's... Okay, so you'll notice it says Master above Clean. So Master means that he's a much higher level character. You know, you want to... As starting out, you want to attack, like, Novices and Harmless and stuff like that, in order to make sure that the ships that you're targeting are going to be about the same level you are. I'm going to go ahead and add a little more power to my engine so I can catch up with some of these ships. So here's a hauler. So this one's mostly Harmless and clean, so that's not going to help me any. Alright. Alright, type 7. Alright, so that's the group that I was looking at earlier. It's about this guy. There he is. You're probably not seeing anything on your screen because he's so far away, but like I can just barely see like the engines on his ship. So I'm going to go ahead and boost to try to catch up with him. Alright, yeah, you should be able to start seeing him on the stream probably about now. There we go. And, oh, okay, that's the Asp that I scanned earlier. Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes it's kind of difficult to tell what ships... Oh, there's somebody attacking somebody over here. Okay, this guy's competent and clean, and then the other guy is an Asp and wanted. Oh, geez, but he's competent. Alright, I'm probably not going to do well here, but we're going to try and see what I can come up with. So. So as you can see, now his shields are offline, so now we're working on his hull. Oh, right. Weapons need to be cooled. Alright, I'm going to speed up a little bit, see if I can get close to him. I don't have gimbaled lasers right now, so I like have to make sure that I'm targeting him directly, otherwise I'm not going to do much damage. Yeah, his shields didn't last very long. Try to get a little closer to him. Since the distance is making it difficult to target. see down in the bottom left, we have them down to about 42%. Now, one thing I do have to point out, the NPCs can, you know, potentially get the last hit in, which means that they get the bounty and not you. So that's just something to keep in mind. Alright, I don't want him to jump, so he's not trying to do that. No, he's turning around. Alright. Now, another thing I could do is I could target something specific. Oh, no, there he is. So I could target one, like something particular on his ship. So, like for instance, like I could target his power plant. And the nice thing about targeting the power plant is he's going to, if I manage to take it out, he'll be down. Like he won't be able to do anything. Now, another thing you want to keep in mind on whenever you're doing combat in this game is keep an eye on who's flying near you on your radar, because if there's somebody else who's really close and they manage to get in the way of your lasers and you hit them, then, like this guy right here, then you could very potentially hit them and then you become wanted because they were a clean target. Alright, he's down to 16%.
Target shields online. Target shields offline.
Hopefully I can get the last hit in. Let's see what his bounty is. Oh, 26,000. Yeah, I definitely want to get the last hit on this. Slow down. Did I get it? Did I get it? Yes! That was awesome. Alright. 26,000 credits. Woo! I just nearly doubled my... I over doubled my money. Almost tripled my money. That was awesome. Alright. Let's see here. I cannot remember... Speaking of remembering keys, I cannot remember how to... retract my... Oh, I remember. There we go. Yeah, there's retracting weapons. Okay, so you have to retract your weapons before you're able to jump into hypercruise, just like your landing gear or cargo scoop or anything on those lines. So I'm going to go ahead and... Let's see, where was his... There we go. So he's got... Alright, so Federation. So any Federation space station I'll be able to collect that at. So that should be one in this system here. So I'm going to go ahead and head back to Thompson Vision. Alright, which is behind me. Try to aim a little bit this way because I can already see the star in my view, and so like as soon as I jump into Super Cruise, it's going to be kind of right there. So there's a lot of ships nearby, and so there's a lot of I've gone brain dead here. I'm sorry. There's a lot of ships nearby, and so there's mass, and that's what's causing it to take longer. It's like if I boosted away from these ships, it potentially wouldn't take as long, but I'm pretty sure it would take several boosts, and so I think just jumping is probably the quickest way. Alright, so now we're back in Super Cruise. I'm going to actually kind of pull out this way to get away from this star a little bit. Just kind of keep Thompson Vision kind of at the top of my screen there so I know where it is. Alright, I think it's safe now. Okay. So as you can, tell, combat's, it's pretty fun. I don't have the best setup for it right now. Like if I had some kinetic weapons that used ammo, like multi-cannons or rockets or something on those lines, I would have been able to do a lot more damage to his hull, and so could have taken him down more quickly. But as you can see, like it was still competent enough to be able to take on a much larger ship. The Asp is considerably larger than my Sidewinder, but I have more maneuverability, which means that I'm able to stay behind him more often and stay around his front weapons, because especially on the Asp, all the weapons are pretty much front facing, and so I don't have to worry about him firing from behind. So that's something to keep in mind. A lot of the bigger ships, most of the weapons are front facing, and so you can stay behind them and stay out of their range of fire. And so you can take on those bigger ships with a smaller one if you know how to fly properly. But keep in mind that's typically only going to work against an NPC player. The regular players like PvP and so forth. There's a lot of people on here who know how to fly very, very well, and like even I wasn't doing a lot of the advanced flights that you can do on here because, for instance, you can turn off or you can turn on Newtonian flight, which means that, and what it is called flight assist in the game. So if you turn off flight assist, which puts you into Newtonian flight, what that means is that wherever your momentum sends you. So if I'm thrusting this way, like, for instance, if I was flying normally in this direction, on Newtonian flight, turned off my thrusters, and then faced the other direction, I'd still be flying in this same direction, just backwards. But with the flight assist on, what it does is it uses your shields as kind of a dampener and kind of a warp drive, or a warp bubble effect, essentially. And it manipulates space in order to allow you to either adjust your speed or so forth without using your throttle, or without using thrusters. And so what that actually does is that means that if I was to throttle down with flight assist on, I actually throttle all the way down and go to 0. And so my speed would not be maintained. So people can do these really advanced maneuvers using this Newtonian flight physics by, going really quickly at their target, getting in a few shots, then turning flight assist off. They flip their ship around but don't adjust their speed, and so they go buzzing past them and then hit their boosters once they go past, and now they're behind them, and you're able to fire your weapons at them from behind at that point, and the other ship has no way to compensate for that. I mean, there just isn't. Even trying to just turn around, it's going to take so long that they're going to get in a lot of really good shots on you. So, if you want to be more advanced in your flight in the game, you can do stuff like that and do these really cool maneuvers. I'm not terribly good with those just yet, so I didn't feel like I was competent enough to really show you. But there's some videos online that'll give you some really good ideas on how you can use those Newtonian physics to your advantage. Alright, so coming into Thompson Vision, and it looks like it's on our side. Sometimes it's hard to tell, like the ring, you can't tell if the ring is this way or this way, so it's hard to see if that's behind the star or in front of it, so you kind of have to wait till you get closer to tell. One way you can usually do it is kind of approach so that the ring goes flat like this, and then you're potentially able to kind of see, so that line is in front of the star, so I can actually just fly straight into Thompson Vision. I don't have to worry about doing a hook maneuver around the star to stay out of its gravity well. Another way you could do this, you could target the star temporarily to see the difference in distance. I just didn't do that. That's another option you have available to you. Hopefully I don't get interdicted here. I'd like to just go ahead and be able to dock and turn in this bounty and collect my money, and then I'll probably go ahead and close out the stream. But I mean, this is Elite Dangerous, like I said. Oh, before I close out the stream, I am going to show you voice attack really quick. I've got it set up so I can show you that. So I'll dock here, I'll turn in the bounty, collect my money, and then I'll hop out and show you the voice attack and like kind of how that works and the various different things that you can configure on it. Because it's a fairly simple program, but you know it adds a lot of capabilities into a game, especially like this. But you could even use it for like Battlefield or whatever you want. I mean, like if there's some function that you would love to be able to have quicker access to, but don't have it on a button, then you can you'd go through and have the voice attack and just have a button that triggers it listening, and then you say the command and boom, it's done. Mech Warrior would probably be another good game for voice attack. Another lot of simulator style games are going to be much more, much better designed for using, voice attack with. But you could do all kinds of stuff with it. Yeah, so there's an NPC ship flying around in hyper cruise. That's the wake that it leaves behind. Alright, so you can kind of see the red lights flashing there on that side. That means we're kind of on the back side of it, so I need to head this way in order to find the front. And you'll also notice the station rotates on its axis that the entry tunnel is on. So, if you ever see it rotating, just kind of think of it, like what's the axis that it's rotating on, and it's going to be one of those two sides. And then just, figure out which side they are, and then look for the lights. If you see red, it's the wrong side. If it's white, it's the right one. One thing I do like about the Sidewinder is you have this huge window view up top, so you can do some cool stuff with it, or some, look around and so forth.
Scan detected.
Oh no, not a scan. That's all right. I'm not carrying any illegal cargo right now, so it's no big deal. Yeah, you can see in the top left there in comms. We're done here, pilot, move along. Yeah, that just means they scanned my ship, didn't see anything wrong, and so they're just letting me go. So, but that's something you keep in mind. Like if you're carrying illegal cargo, like you either want to go in. Oh shoot! I forgot to request docking. Don't forget to do that. All right, boost out of here, because I do. Oh no! I gained a 400 credit fine. Oh well, there's a little bit of my money gone. Okay, don't forget to request docking.
Docking request denied.
Alright, so now I can request docking.
Docking request granted.
Alright, so now I'm going to have to pay a 400 credit fine, but thankfully I have the $26,000 bounty, so that's not going to be too bad. But yeah, don't do that. Don't just fly in, expecting to be able to dock, because yeah, you'll end up with a fine. And if you stay there long enough, they'll start shooting at you. So they're kind of ruthless there. So, alright, let's fly in here. Prepare to land. Again, I screwed up on my command there just a second. Prepare for landing? No, it must be prepared to land. Yeah, it's been a little while since I've used the voice attack, so I apologize for having to repeat these over and over again. Prepare to land? Oh, no, just docking. Ah, it's not landing, it's docking. Okay, prepare to dock. Okay, I keep talking and... Okay, just a second, sorry. Prepare to dock.
Ready for docking.
There we go. Alright, yeah. That's one problem, especially if you're running a stream like this and you're talking all the time. If you hit the button while you've said something and then try to do the command, it's recording all of that. And so it interferes with being able to do the commands. So sometimes, that's why I've been doing these kind of brief pauses before I do the command, because that allows the system to work. But, obviously, like I said, you can set up these commands so they have multiple things that you can say to do the same command. I'd highly recommend that. I've just not gotten around to doing it. I was playing around with voice attack before a few weeks ago, getting it all set up, just testing things out, and just never got around to being able to do all of the extra commands and everything. But I'll show you the voice attack here in just a second, and you'll kind of see how it works.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
All right. So now I'm going to go to Starport Services, and I'm going to go down to Contacts, and I'm going to have to do two things now since I got that fine. So the first is I need to pay off the fine that I got. So click that, confirm, pay the fine. And then I can redeem that 26,000 bounty. So at least I gained a hell of a lot more money than I lost. So that's that's a good thing. And so you can see that combat, especially those bounties, they can become, you can get a lot of money doing those, provided you find the right ship. You want to be really careful if you see a ship that's like dangerous or master or, something on those lines, because that means they're going to have some pretty high level, armor and high level weapons. And so they will fuck your shit up if you don't have a ship that's capable of really taking them on. So that's just something to keep in mind. But anyway, so that's Elite Dangerous. I've been, as I said, I was really excited to show you this. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. I hope you've enjoyed, seeing Elite Dangerous. It's an incredibly fun game to play. I actually, right now, I'm only playing it on one monitor, but I actually have a 3-monitor span, and that's what I typically play it on. So having those 3 monitors spanned across, playing the game, you just get yourself immersed in. I've got my voice attack commands, so the computer and ship is responding back to me. It's a lot of fun, and it's just such a cool game. I'm really excited for the things to come. The developers have been really involved with the community. As a matter of fact, the developers regularly post on the Elite Dangerous Reddit forum, and then their own forum, of course. And so, it's an amazing game. I highly, highly, highly recommend you go out and purchase it if you would enjoy this type of game. Or even if you just want to, help support an indie developer, because this, the team that put this together is, their own team. Like the main guy who built this is his fourth game in this series, I should say. I'm sure he's worked on other projects, but fourth game in this series. The last one came out in the 1990s. So it's been a long time coming for this release. So it's just an amazing game. The fact that they have the entire Milky Way galaxy in there, I think is just fucking incredible. So, it's amazing. Get it, play it, have fun with it, do whatever you want. Like I said, it's completely open world. And do everything you want to do. This game is just one of those where you can make it your own. And like I said, you don't even have to use the multiplayer stuff. You can do the solo play. You don't have to have other players. But if you wanted to, you can. And let me go ahead and go to the main menu here so I can show you that really quick. You can. You do have the ability to create friends, and they're supposed to be releasing an update that adds wings to the game so that you can actually create like a flight group, which will allow you to be able to jump from system to system together and stuff like that. I don't know if they actually have that in yet. I don't believe so. They were hoping to have it done this month, maybe later this month, we'll see. They were supposed to be releasing a beta version for it earlier, which I should have access to because I did purchase the beta, but I don't know if they've actually released that or not. I haven't been able to stay up to date as much as I used to on this, but that's coming. Right now, if you want to play with friends, it's a little difficult. The instancing doesn't quite work properly, so don't expect that you're going to be able to just jump in with all your buddies and just wreak havoc with a bunch of pirates or so forth. That's kind of something you're going to have to work towards, or that they're working towards to make it work better. So really quickly, I'm going to switch over to show you the voice attack and what the interface looks like and all that stuff. So let me do this. All right. So now you can see the voice attack. So voice attack itself is a fairly simple program. You've got your profiles that you make for all your different games. You can add new games and stuff like that. And then you can edit the profile here. And this is where all the magic works, for the different commands. So on the left here is actually the spoken command. And so what this does is it uses the built-in speech functionality that's within Windows, which nowadays works actually pretty well. There are some better ones out there, and I think this program can be integrated in with like Dragon Naturally Speaking or something on those lines to use a different voice engine. I know you can use different voices, so like if you bought a different voice for when it reads a command off back to you, what it uses right now is just the built-in voices that are within Windows. So I think it's Microsoft Sam and Amy or something on those lines. But there's companies out there that do sell those voice packs that might sound a little more natural. Obviously, the ones from Microsoft have this kind of computer voice, but I kind of like that. I think it works well. I think it works well with the ship because it makes the ship sound more, like a computer. I mean, it's not a person, it's a computer. Granted, it's also, a computer in, the year 3400 or whatever it is right now. And so that would be, a little different. They should have better voice recognition in the future and so forth. So if you want to do that, you can. Just know that it does support that. But anyway, so the way these commands work is you can add a new command. And then let me bring this over. Okay, so you type what you want to say right here, and then you can tell it to do different things. So you can have it press a key, you can do a mouse click, you can do multiple actions, you can have it you can do other, which is what I use when I want it to just respond to me, like the hello computer command and what should we do today. And I have several commands like that built into it, but you would literally just type whatever you want the response to be on here. So for instance, I'll go ahead and do something really quick. So we'll do hello. Oh, caps lock on. All right. Hello, computer. Or no, I got it. Computer, say hello to the internet. All right, and then we're gonna have it say hello, internet. All right. So I'm gonna hit OK. Hit OK, and so now you see computer say hello to the internet, and so I'm going to hit my button that's for the voice communication. So computer say hello to the internet. Just a second. You can see here what it computer say hello to the internet. Did I get that typed in right? Computer say hello to the internet. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I need to click done in order for it to redo that. So, all right. Computer, say hello to the internet.
Hello, internet.
And there you go. So, it's really quick, really simple to add in those things. You can add the ability where it actually chooses a random response, so you could have multiple responses. That gets a little more technical. There's some better guides online for that, so I'm not going to go into how to do that because A, I don't have any examples set up right now to show you, and then B, I would have to look at one of those examples to explain it to you. Because basically, essentially what you're doing is you're creating a programming function where it chooses a random number, and then based on the random number, it does certain things. But that is available to you. Like I said, it's $8. For $8, you can just set up the very simple commands. For $8, you have a voice program that you can set up these very simple, easy to use commands and have it press a button for you, and it could just be any keyboard button you want. So you can, number keys or something, whatever. And so for like a multiplayer game like online, like WoW, or something on those lines, or Elite Dangerous, or Mech Warrior, any of these games that are going to have a lot of different buttons, a lot of macros, stuff like that. Voice Attack is an amazing piece of software. It's really, really cool. And one of the best things about it is it supports joystick buttons by default. So like I was actually just able to go into the settings here and tell it to use joystick 1, button 4 right here. So you can see joystick button recognition, push button joystick 1, button 4. And so I push button 4 on my joystick, and it immediately starts the voice recognition on the software. So I speak my command, and then it does it. So it's really nice to see that. There's a lot of programs out there that don't have full functionality for a joystick. So seeing that on here, it's really good. I'm glad to see that. So, but anyways, so that is Elite Dangerous. That's Voice Attack. Like I said, I highly, highly, highly recommend this game. There's just not, I just can't give this game enough praise. It's fucking amazing. Go out, buy it. It's worth every penny you'll spend on it. And just have the time of your life, as far as I'm concerned, because I've always wanted a game where I could like fly into the ring of a gas giant, flying around the asteroids, killing pirates. It's that to me is just awesome. I love it. So anyway, so this is Zero Guardian. This has been, a bonus episode. I am going to try to do these at least once or twice a month. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. It, obviously depends on scheduling and stuff like that. But, one thing I'd like to show you is we just started up a brand new Minecraft server for our forum, or we're about to, anyways. I'm actually working on that right now, so we'll be having that. So we're going to be starting this new Minecraft. So maybe for a bonus episode next month, I can kind of show you what we've been working on and what we're doing. We're using one of the Feed the Beast mod packs, which is a lot of fun. As always, I am doing this in part to kind of drum up support for our forum. It's forums.spacepotatoes.com. It's amazing group of casual gamers. We play pretty much anything and everything. We got a regularly scheduled game night. Last night we were supposed to play The Crew. I was going to try to stream it, but we ran into some technical issues with the game. So unfortunately I wasn't able to, which is a shame. I was really hoping to show you The Crew, but for some reason we were having trouble with getting one guy was having trouble getting voice communication on our Mumble server to work with the game, and then we were having trouble getting everybody together in the same instance, which is a shame because for a multiplayer game that's like kind of intrinsic. But it is what it is. It is a fun game. If you're into racing games with that open world feel and don't mind mostly playing single player, it's amazing. Buy it. It's a good game. Yes, there's a lot of mixed reviews out there. I am a big fan of the game, so just go in there with an open mind. Obviously you might run into a couple of issues here and there with especially like multiplayer. I would suggest just playing the game solo. There's not really any need for the multiplayer aspects of it because the game's fun enough as it is. Anyways, so next week, as I mentioned in yesterday's stream, I'm gonna be playing LA Noire on Monday. So that's Monday at 7 p.m. Central. Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm gonna be playing Deponia, and then Friday. Oh gosh, I've gone brain dead. Cube. Yeah, quick understanding of block extrusion. It's a really interesting puzzle game. I've been looking forward to that one a lot, so hopefully that pans out. Anyways, I hope you all have enjoyed it. It's it's Elite Dangerous. It's a space sim. It's fucking amazing. Go out, get it, play it, and maybe once they get the wings and everything, you can hop on the forums and you can join me playing it, because I would love to have some more people to play this game with. So anyways, this is Zero Guardian. I'm signing off. Talk to y'all later.